Yo, 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 YouTube, welcome back to another one. We're in again for a pull session today. The last thing I might have trained might have actually been an upper or a pull, but they've landed back to back, and we're in at flex and tone actually, so a different environment today. We're going to be training here a little bit more often. We've come down, kit's great, atmosphere is banging. Also got some questions and Q&As that I've cracked in from some people that I put up on Instagram over the weekend. So if you've not got me over there, jump over there as well, because when I do the YouTube videos, I get my Q&As and stuff up over on the Instagram. More content as well, get to hear this man captain a little bit more often. So yeah, straight into the session, we'll get cracked in because it's getting a little bit busier in here and I don't want to take too long. Nice and warm, music's banging, let's get into it. So starting over on my lat pullover, really good at early just to get my lat short. I struggle with connection through my back musculature. So the way that you'll see me like push with Elliot in the last YouTube video is very different to how I pull like when I'm training. Just because if I don't connect as well, I need to get things of blood moving quite early. So there'll be a lot more high rep volume in here, especially not like a top set back up approach through a lot of my work lat specifically. So I did 3 sets over on that pullover, it was 2 and a drop set, and it was genuinely all just 10 to 15 to get my lats warm. Then I'll move into a row. My lat work all being first, it's just a very weak area for me, not from the front, but through the rear shot. So just really trying to get a hard contraction through my posterior, and then we'll probably drop over to something like a pen lay. So 2 and a bit sets over there on the pullover, and then 2 sets here unilateral, just so I can get my arm coming across my torso a little bit more stretch on my lat. 2 sets here, and we'll probably move across to another movement as well. Right, I've got some questions from a Q&A. I've probably got 40 of them, and maybe like 15 of them are horror. So they're not even bodybuilding related. The first one's from Ricardo, so he said, what training split did I run when I first started working with Adam? And what were like my favourite movements back then? I think it was a variation of push-pull legs. I actually was meant to be doing a men's physique debut when I started working with Adam, not a bodybuilding debut. So it was like push-pull legs, then it was off, upper, and then like a delt and arm session. When I decided I was going to start doing bodybuilding instead, then it translated into more of like push-pull legs, upper, lower. There was a lot of leg frequency in there. That was my best training. My best training is always my weaker body parts because that's what I want to bring up. When I come into the gym, like the days that I train, my push day is most muscular day. It's reflective of the shots and what you want that to be on stage. So your weaker shots, that's the stuff you've got to like fall in love with having fun with. So right now, it's going to be my back work. Back then, it was my lower work. It was my quad days, my hacks, my compounds, and like now my quads are a strong point. So again, that'll be reflective in my back in a year or two. Hopefully by the next time you catch me on stage or something like that, man. Just speaking with Jack about lat work, what I do unilaterally, realistically it's probably limbs and my lat work. The reason why it's my lat work in specific, I just think the ability for you to get your arm to travel across your midline is so much of a better stretch on the lat. When you do this, it feels good, but when you do this, it feels great. And unfortunately, you can't do that bilaterally. Doing this, it isn't the same as you do it with both arms. However, there's a limit to how much, I've said this in a previous video, there's a limit to how much unilateral work that I'm doing. You're not going to see me start. I remember when people used to sit on pec presses side up. We used to do that, the hammer strength pec press side up in a pec. You're never going to see me doing that. It runs no benefit, right? Like movements already convert to pec, but for limbs, lats, probably a good idea. If I didn't film it, it didn't count. Felt okay. I've had a little bit of a lower back niggle recently, so I've not completely removed my hinge work. I'm still doing my pen late, it's just really reduced. I'm leaving an RIR there. Same on my stiff legs. That's now moved across to my leg day, but just leaving an RIR there rather than being stupid. I don't want to remove the volume. Then the body part almost seizes up when there's no blood there. But I don't want to provoke it, so just in the middle ground, but we'll definitely work back up towards that 3 plates we were on here. But good set, good set. One question. We'll find one that's not awful. The naps count towards sleep. That's a bad question. No, definitely not. I think they'll count towards the amount of REM cycles that you might go through. But then again, if you go through too many REM cycles, you might cause detriment to your sleep. Sleep inertia is a real thing. So going in and out of cycles might not be the best applicable to your training. So I wouldn't personally, I'd just look at getting one long continuous sleep and tracking that. But if you need to, it's going to be better than nothing, right? One of the questions someone asked, Andrew, was about the worst thing that I've bought in like prep taste buds. This wasn't even prep, I was telling Jack about this intro. Horrible. I bought the Cola Carbex at the back end of the last diet I did. It goes with nothing, like nothing. The only thing that's good about it is when you put it with the sugar-free Velvet Waters, the strawberry one specifically. So now I've basically just increased my outgoing by £40 a month because I have to buy one of these every single day now because it's the only thing that the actual Carbex tastes good with. And it's not running out because I bought 3 tubs of it on sale. So now I've got 3 tubs of Cola Carbex that are awful. Aside from that, maybe chicken rice dark chocolate in prep, but I still stand by that being a pretty decent meal. So those are the 2 things that are probably skeptical about me. Other than that, I'm cool. I eat everything normal. I don't have any fancy taste buds. I'm not a picky eater. I eat whatever's there. Oh, it was a good set. I've just been clustering up here and there at the minute. I'm just trying to work through this bit of a lower back niggle injury that I've got going on right now. One thing that I'm adamant on, don't be afraid of when you've got a niggle in the gym because these things happen, especially if you train hard, you're going to get a niggle in the gym. It's common fucking sense. You can't train hard and get away with training hard forever with no injuries. People look at clips online of people like Keithy lifting 340 off the floor and think, oh, if I could do that, I would. You can. But how many injuries do you think that guy's probably went through in his career and still trained through them? You've got to be able to train through niggles sometimes. You can't be soft in this sport. You're coming to the gym to build tissue. It's not a soft sport. If you want to be soft, go and play paddle. Go and play ping pong. But we don't do that here. We train through a niggle here and there. So just seeing how I can work around that, how I can monitor that, how I can still grow back tissue without making further detriment to that. So at the moment, clustering up for a few sets. Sometimes I'm taking 10 on a warm and I'll take 2 or 3 warms and just get loads of blood in that body part before I then start going into my working set. So a lot of the work that I'm doing at the moment isn't actually all the way there, but when I do my working sets, like at least I feel on for them at a minute and niggle will be gone in no time. You know it's a good gym when you gotta put Allen keys in the fucking machine. Like it literally looks like a bike key. Horror. You've got to jiggle the machine back and forward to get it in. That's how you know you're in a good gang. Jack's question, right? We've seen a cage over there, a little bare knuckle one. We've said Naz versus Ramon in a cage. I've got to go Ramon. There's 2 reasons. The forearm, imagine the elbow you'd catch from him. It's got to be Ramon. And also he's Brazilian, man. by any chance he's come up in hardship, favela life, compared to UK, you know, cool weather? Nah. He's dragging you into the depths, and this gym's nice and warm as well, so he's going to feel like he's on home turf. The last person I'd probably pick a fight with is Ramon. I'll take someone short. I'll take Diego or something like that. He can get a deuce, but don't give me none of the big boys. I'm adding to my unit list because I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a back garden big enough I can just put a big pod in. It might cost me 50k for the pod and then for kit as well. And I'm just going to get 15 pieces that feel great. And I'm never going to train in a gym again. Travel, gone. Like, you know, traffic, gone. Gym costs, gone. £40 a month membership or £50 a month membership for 2 people, for me and G, for a year. What? 1,200 quid? Do that for 40 years, it's 50k. May as well just build the pod for 50k, right? I never have to train with anyone else again. Makes sense. So I'm looking and I'm scouting out kit. And that Nautilus Pec Fly and Weird Out Fly, where your joints are just out of it, it's in the list. What made me get into starting bodybuilding, I was actually speaking with Jack about this in the car. It was actually Oscar Young. It was Young 4040 himself. I don't even know if he knows this. So I went to train on a day pass at FLF because I found out they had some adjustable kit like the leg extension, etc. And I was still playing football at the time. Still chasing football, thinking I was going to be the next pro, like we all do, right? And I tore my meniscus, so I'd got in for rehab there. And every time I went back 3 times. All 3 times, Oscar came over. I didn't know who he was. He was under a big JP top, so I hadn't spoken to him before. And he's just like, try bodybuilding. Genuinely, he looked at me, he's like, try bodybuilding. He's like, you've got good delts, good shape. You need a lot more tissue. Give it a go. I ignored him. Day 2. Said it, I ignored him. I went home, I had a little look around what it was about and stuff. I was like, nah, it's weird as shit, isn't for me. And the 3rd day I've come back and I've day passed it all 3 days. I was thinking about getting a membership and not. 3rd day, £60 in, I've spoken to him and he's been like, give it a go. I've ignored him. He's one of the old guys. Nothing ever comes good from an old guy in your gym saying like, try this, so I just ignored him. Seen him posing in the corner on the way out and thought, what the flying fuck is that? And I was like, that's pretty fucking cool. Got home, next day I'm watching Olympia qualifiers, the lot. And I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And now we're here, in flex and tone, shooting on pre-qual kit, grunting down the camera. When it comes to my bicep work, like, I'm not trying to move my entire arm. It's the same with my lateral work. I'm trying to move the target musculature. So when in my head I'm thinking of bringing the load up here, I'm only thinking of making this part of my bicep get as close to this part of my bicep as I possibly can. None of this is involved, right? The same when I'm doing a lateral. I'm not thinking about elevating this. I'm just trying to bring this a little bit closer to this. So that just means scraping my arm out across the floor, just to tighten this contraction. It doesn't mean that, and it doesn't mean that. When I do my bicep work, I'm just trying to close this gap. So usually, the elbow's gonna stay pretty tight to the pad, unless I can't get a hard contraction. And I might have a little bit of a pickle. But until then, it's just trying to shorten the bicep, that's it. So when you see people preaching, and this happens, and they elevate, you just get a lot of front delt activation. So trying to pin this elbow joint as far as I can into this pad whilst driving. Same when you do your ham curls. Try and pin your quad into that lying ham curl pad and then contract your hamstring, and it helps a lot. Just keeping everything else around it quite stiff. I don't think that would change anything. A lot of it is a great learning curve, but at the same time, I think time spent doing the right things is always going to be beneficial, especially from a competitive standpoint. You don't want to waste your training years. The one thing that I'd probably change a lot in mine, or maybe that I'd give across to other people, is controlling the change direction early into training. Like, sometimes you see people actually taking a slower eccentric until they get to this portion of like a shoulder press and dropping into this portion. If you think about slowing down a car that was coming at you at 40 miles per hour, how hard would it be to push a car that's coming at you at 40 back this way? Very hard. It's going to run straight through you. how hard is it to push a car back this way when it's traveling at 2 miles per hour? It's a lot easier. It takes less momentum to bring that to a stopping point and then push that back in the opposite manner. It's the exact same here. If you come down on a bicep curl at peak speed, it's very hard to slow that down, stop it, and then bring it the other way. If you're slow, it's a lot easier and requires less momentum to then change that direction. So you make the movement easier for yourself by having more control, not the latter. So changing direction would be something I'll probably preach in my early time training. Picking up on like partials as well, really quickly. You'll see that I do them with certain pieces of work. If it's compound work, it's probably not going to happen. It's not a smart choice because the systemic fatigue you're going to pick up from that, it's going to batter you. But with small work like isolations or stuff where you can really separate a small muscle group, they're great. They stretch mediated hypertrophy for free at the back end of the set. Whether you're going for an upper back row and you want to spend partials doing, kelsos to get more track, or whether it's work like this where you can rinse more from it and it's not going to batter you. I can train delt so frequently. I can train bicep so frequently. So there's no reason why I wouldn't add a partial into the end of my set. I've already taken it there. It's already one time I've taken myself to failure. So I may as well take a couple of extra partials here and there. I wouldn't ever do them in the first set in like a set of 3. But if you've got 1 or 2 sets and you add partials in there at the end, it's bonus. It's like saving the pennies to the pound, right? It's gonna add up. So I don't mind doing them in there. I also do integrated partials across a bit of my training, but that's only where I think there's a really great purpose spent, like having time in the stretch. I have a very heel elevated like leg press. I have integrated partials there. That again is double the time spent in the stretch, but you have to be careful with that and how often you're putting them in. They can accumulate like a lot of damage overall because stretch mediated growth is what accrues the most breakdown. It's the hardest to recover from rather than contractile strength. So you want to make sure that you're programming it accordingly, but definitely super useful for everybody, not just early years in training, not just late years, everybody. So that's pull wrapped up, a little bit of a Q&A, some posing afterwards as well. I've got the physique out again. It's about damn time. So yeah, another one filmed, and we're going to be in bi-weekly, or bi-monthly should I say. I should be getting content up every other week as well. Check Mr. Consistent now, actually back on the YouTube, but it's good to be back. Thank you for watching as well, obviously. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Post notice on, so you know when I'm dropping more of these bombs, and I'll catch you guys very, very shortly.